The VHS videocassette format is primarily known as a cult technology in home video. Few people remember that VHS was once a medium for high-quality sound. In this video, we will look at an unusual chapter in the history of audio, how VHS videocassettes were used for hi-fi. This story is sure to awaken nostalgia in those who lived through the era of magnetic tape and show what a regular videocassette was capable of. The VHS, Video Home System, standard was introduced by JVC in 1976 as a video recording format for the mass market. The first VHS tapes had a simple analog longitudinal audio track, a monophonic, and later stereo, linear track on the edge of the tape. The sound quality on this linear track was limited, narrow bandwidth and low signal-to-noise ratio. Simply put, the sound of the first VHS tapes resembled the quality of a poorly recorded compact cassette or radio broadcast and was clearly not hi-fi. In the late 1970s, competition flared up between VHS and Sony's Betamax format. Interestingly, one of the battlegrounds was sound quality. By the early 1980s, both camps were thinking about how to improve the audio in video recordings. The solution came in the form of high-quality audio frequency modulation technology, first introduced in Betamax and then in VHS. In 1983, Sony introduced the Beta Hi-Fi system, and by 1984, JVC responded by adding VHS Hi-Fi stereo mode to its VCRs, for example, the JVC HRD 725U model. This technology recorded stereo sound not on a linear track, but in the video signal area using frequency modulation, AFM. As a result, VHS gained the ability to reproduce sound with truly high performance. The frequency range was from 20 Hz to 20 kHz, the dynamic range reached 90 dB, and the signal-to-noise ratio was about 70 dB. These indicators are already more comparable to the quality of a compact disc. In other words, VHS Hi-Fi provided near-studio quality sound on consumer tape by 1980 standards. This leap in quality was achieved through a non-standard technical solution. The sound was recorded by rotating video heads as an FM signal superimposed in the depth of the video recording. So-called depth multiplexing was used. First, an encoded audio signal at a relatively low frequency, about 1.4 MHz, was recorded on the tape, and then a higher frequency video signal was recorded on top of it. The video signal magnetized only the top layer without erasing the previously recorded sound, thanks to the difference in the depth of magnetization of the tape. During playback, the VCR's electronics separated the video and audio signals, allowing for the extraction of clear hi-fi stereo sound. This complex process yielded a surprising result: high audio quality regardless of the recording speed. Manufacturers quickly introduced VHS Hi-Fi into their top-of-the-line VCR models. In the second half of the 1980s, all commercial videocassettes, films, concerts began to be released with two audio tracks, the usual linear track and the new hi-fi stereo track. Thus, even if the user was unaware of the new technology, they automatically received better sound quality from the new videocassettes. By the early 1990s, hi-fi stereo had become the standard in almost all VCRs, and mono and linear stereo were forgotten. It is important to note that although the hi-fi VHS system provided excellent sound, it had its nuances. Sometimes a low-frequency hum appeared in the background. This was a characteristic defect of some recordings. When poorly tuned, a background buzzing noise could be heard. In addition, many VHS decks used an automatic level adjustment system for hi-fi sound, which meant that loud and quiet passages could be reproduced differently from the original. Nevertheless, despite these shortcomings, the advent of VHS Hi-Fi was a big step forward. In fact, the video recorder also became a high-quality audio recorder. The high sound quality on videocassettes did not go unnoticed by enthusiasts. Music lovers and home sound engineers began to use VHS video recorders to record music. For example, It was possible to record hours of stereo music on a single VHS cassette and get better quality than with a regular audio cassette. A dynamic range of up to 90 decibels and the almost complete absence of audible tape noise made VHS attractive for archiving valuable recordings. Some enthusiasts recorded final stereo mixes from their multitrack reel-to-reel tape recorders onto VHS Hi-Fi, creating a kind of master tape at home. VCRs were also useful for recording live concert broadcasts. There was a practice called simulcast, when a concert was broadcast on television in video format and simultaneously on FM radio in stereo sound. By connecting a VCR to a radio, it was possible to record a concert from the television, but with clear stereo sound, synchronizing the two broadcasts. It is known that thousands of people recorded the legendary Live Aid concert in 1985 in this way, obtaining a memorable video cassette with high-quality sound. Even prestigious brands have made their mark in this area. In 1985, Harman Kardon released the VCD 1000, essentially a VHS video recorder designed specifically for integration into high-end stereo systems. It was advertised as high fidelity for your eyes, hinting that it combined high-fidelity audio with video capabilities. The VCD 1000 paid special attention to the audio path. Discrete components were used, negative feedback in the amplifiers was minimized, and filters were tuned to extend the frequency range. As a result, its performance was better than many expensive cassette decks of the time. The device even contained a built-in stereo TV tuner that allowed you to receive and record stereo broadcasts, which was a novelty in 1985. Harman Kardon was not alone. Similar VHS Hi-Fi models were also produced by Marantz, Fisher, and others, often as modifications of high-end VCRs aimed at audiophiles. While VHS Hi-Fi was gaining momentum in analog sound, another direction was developing in parallel, recording digital audio on video cassettes. The fact is that digital stereo sound required high bandwidth, around 1 MHz and above, which was unattainable for conventional audio tape recorders. Engineers found a solution: to use a video recorder as a carrier for digital data. This led to the emergence of PCM adapters, special external devices that encoded PCM audio signals as video noise, a black and white pattern that could be recorded on any video recorder. In essence, the PCM processor converted the sound into a pseudo-video signal, and the video recorder stored it on tape. During playback, the process went in reverse. The adapter read the noise picture from the VHS and decoded it back into digital. The first experiments with this approach began in the late 1970s. Sony released prototypes of PCM adapters as early as 1977, model PCM-1, but it was the Sony PCM-F1, 1981, that gained real fame, a portable digital-to-analog converter that could be connected to any Betamax or VHS video recorder. With its help, enthusiasts and professionals could make digital recordings at home with CD quality. Several Japanese companies also produced PCM adapters: JVC VP100, Technics SV100 and SV110, Sansui PC X1 and others. Interestingly, Technics even created a combined version of the SVP100, a VHS video recorder with a built-in digital PCM recorder. Such devices allowed the use of a regular VHS cassette to obtain two-channel digital sound without noise or distortion. PCM adapters also found application in the professional sphere. For example, for digital mastering of albums at the dawn of the CD era, audio was recorded on U-Matic studio video recorders with PCM encoding. However, this technology was complex and expensive, and by the end of the 1980s it was replaced by the more convenient DAT, digital audio tape, format. With the advent of compact DAT recorders in 1987, the need for a PCM processor plus video recorder combination disappeared. DAT used small cassettes and was easier to use, although it essentially worked on the same principle. Thus, by the early 1990s, PCM adapters for VHS had virtually disappeared from amateur use, remaining only as a curious page in the history of audio. In the 1990s, the VHS videocassette underwent another unexpected transformation, this time into the basis for professional multitrack audio recording. In 1991, the American company Alesis introduced the ADAT, Alesis Digital Audio Tape, system, which used S-VHS tapes to record 8 tracks of digital audio simultaneously. The format was 16-bit digital recording, later 20-bit, with a frequency of 44.1 or 48 kHz, but most importantly, it had 8 channels on a single tape, all fully synchronized. The ADAT video recorder looked like a slightly enlarged regular VHS deck, and it used standard S-VHS cassettes, which could record about 40 minutes of 8-track audio. Several of these machines could be combined, up to 16 in a bundle, providing up to 128 tracks for simultaneous recording and playback with precise synchronization. For the early 90s, this was revolutionary. Digital multi-channel recording became available to small studios and even home musicians. The first Alesis ADAT devices cost around $4,000, which were significantly less expensive than the studio digital multi-channel recorders available at the time. The very fact that a standard videocassette could carry 8 digital channels was impressive. The ADAT system gained recognition. In 2004, the original ADAT was inducted into the Technology Hall of Fame as a revolution in affordable sound recording. The system lasted until the early 2000s, when it was replaced by hard drives and computer DAW systems. Despite all these innovations, VHS never became a mainstream music format. Attempts to use the videocassette purely for music encountered practical problems. Firstly, a VCR is not a very convenient device for listening to songs. There is no easy way to switch tracks, rewinding is slow, and the cassette itself is bulky. Secondly, by the mid-1980s, when VHS Hi-Fi could technically have been used as an album medium, convenient audio formats already existed on the market. Cassettes with Dolby noise reduction, and soon CD, which provided high-quality sound without noise and instant access to tracks. By the early 2000s, VHS had become obsolete in the audio world. However, the most enthusiastic fans still remembered VHS as an audio format. For example, in 2015, garage rock artist Ty Segall sent critics his new album on VHS tapes, in the spirit of retrofuturism. Some independent labels began releasing limited editions of albums on videocassettes, combining music with primitive visuals to emphasize the atmosphere of the 80s and 90s. Of course, this is more a tribute to trends and nostalgia than a pragmatic choice of format. The sound quality of VHS is far from perfect by modern standards. Today, VHS is an outdated format, but the love for it lives on among connoisseurs of retro technology. And when we nostalgically rewind an old cassette with a concert video, it is important to remember that the same tape also contained stereo sound that was high quality for its time. The history of VHS as a hi-fi audio format is a reminder that technology sometimes finds users far beyond its intended purpose. Such experiments are now a thing of the past, but they continue to inspire. Or, at the very least, they bring back memories of the days of rustling tape and flickering indicators on the good old VCR.